Welcome to Makeup Effects Live at IMATS 2015. We are chugging along. What a day it's been here at IMATS. And we have two new guests, as promised. To my right, we have the great Norman Cabrera. Put your hands together. And we have Tom Hester as well on this segment. And both of these gentlemen have been in the business for many years, been a part of some amazing stuff. A lot of you know them already, but in case you don't, Norman, this is the end. Drag Me to Hell, Hellboy 1 and 2, Kill Bill Volume 1, House of a Thousand Corpses, The Time Machine, From Dusk Till Dawn, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, Coming to America, Harry and the Hendersons. And you've got an Emmy nomination and two Online Film and Television Association nominations for your work. A big fixture over K&B for the last, how many years now?
I mean, I met those guys when I was 20, you know, originally. I moved to LA in 1985, you know, and befriended all these guys. Like, Tom was one of the first people that I met when I came out here to work for Rick Baker, you know.
Did you ever think that someday you'd be sitting at IMATS at a table talking to Tom?
No, I didn't, yeah. Tom, as a matter of fact, I had come to visit Rick when I was just, you know, we were corresponding and stuff like that, and then you guys were working. It was like right after Thriller or something like that, and then you know, I was like, you know, like all of us Monster Geek fans that wanted to be, you know, work for Rick Baker, and I eventually did get a job in '85, and one of the first guys I met was Tom.
So Tom, for those of you who don't know Tom's illustrious career, as Norman said, you were a key member of Rick's team and worked on Harry and the Hendersons, Gorillas in the Mist, American Werewolf in London, Gremlins 2, The New Batch was also Rick, right?
Yeah.
Because Chris Wayless did the first.
Yeah, he did the first one, and then we did Gremlins 2.
And just tons of incredible stuff. And when I asked, you should know, I asked Norman to be on the show and said, Norman, you're kind of got to guest host it. Who was your dream guest?
Yeah.
And you looked at the roster of who's going to be here. He said, Tom Hester.
I said the first person, honestly, the first person that popped in my head was Tom. You know,
Why? Why Tom?
This man
What's
right
so
here.
great about him?
Well, I know. You're to blame.
I'm not convinced this was a good idea. Why is he?
You know, it's funny because like growing up, you know, obviously very influenced by Rick Baker and Rob Bottin and, you know, Stan Winston and you know, people who are the giants of effects. But in reading magazines when I was a kid, you know, Fangoria and that sort of stuff, Rick Baker actually did, right after American Werewolf came out, he did this, they did an article on Rick and the effects for American Werewolf in London, and it was the article was called Baker's Half Dozen. And it was in Fangoria, and it showed the 6 guys who were like the 6 core guys who worked for Rick on American Werewolf. But better than that, it showed their original work too. So it was a feature on them. You know, so that's the first time I found out about Tom. I was living in Florida at the time, and I'm flipping through Fangoria, and I see this Baker's Half Dozen thing, and I'm like, who are these guys?
I can't be Rick Baker, but I might be able to be one of the half dozen.
Even if I can't, exactly. If I can't be Rick, I could probably maybe. These guys are all in their early 20s, right? And you guys were like 19,
kids. 21 when I started.
21, and so I was like, you know, what happened at that moment, I think, is that it made me realize anyway that you didn't have to be the older guy with horn-rimmed glasses and a lab coat and a tie. You know, you can be like these guys in a T-shirt with long hair, and like these guys are making monsters for a living. And then you see their work that was in there, and there's Tom's early work, like this lion guy that you did, and a California condor mask, and this stuff is just beautiful. I'm like, this guy is amazing, you know.
Let's name check the other 6 while we're thinking about it. The other 6.
The other guys were
the other 5.
Sean McEnroe.
Sean McEnroe, Kevin Brennan, Steve Johnson, Bill Sturgeon. Who have I got? Let's see. And then, well, Elaine was Rick's first wife, was working with us.
Right. And Craig was on your crew.
Craig Reardon was on American Werewolf.
On American Werewolf,
with us, yeah. Craig Reardon.
So what was it like? I mean, you're the guest host here, but I got to know. What was it like being one of those half dozen when that article came out?
It was phenomenal. I mean, it was just because this was American Werewolf was my first film. And so I just fell right into this thing, and it just blew me away that all of these people love doing the same stuff I like doing, and they're also so good at it.
And it's a good movie.
Oh,
and it's a werewolf movie.
It's a werewolf movie.
And we get
just,
to do a zombie
well,
kind
it was
of
so
dead
cool
guy
that
character.
you know Rick gave me the opportunity to do so many sculptures for it, which was just blew me away.
You did the elongated body.
Yeah,
That was one of your pieces. Actually, you can see on the screen right now. They're showing the crew. Now that's in England, right?
Yeah, it's a crew in England.
Yeah, that's an amazing picture. All
we
the parts that were made
old
for
schoolhouse there in
Making werewolves
Richmond.
in a schoolhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you sculpted the elongated body.
Yeah.
And you sculpted the elongated hands, correct? Yeah.
Right.
That most famous
all the
moment
hands.
ever.
I have pictures and stuff in here.
Yeah,
if you want to see
I think
some of that.
Yeah,
Go
let's
through that.
scroll through
We'll just go through
But
it.
if you want to go, I think maybe chronological order, I actually wouldn't mind asking him about before he started American Werewolf. We'll go to the beginning. Show me. Let's see. Oh, there's the stuff from American Werewolf. Some of the pieces that he did. You can see Jack's hand up on the upper right.
Jack's
the
hand,
elongated hands from the transformation. And then the elongated body, which has absolutely beautiful sculpture. I remember that was printed in that article in Fangoria, and I remember thinking the anatomy of this thing is so amazing because it's not cartoonish. It looks dead real to me. You know, if a guy was turning into a dog, that's what it would look like. You know, so that photo just blew me away. Now, what was? Let's see some of the early stuff of yours.
If they
I think
can show some of the very beginning. I don't know if she can go right to the first.
How did you? Well, he's queuing that up. What was the first thing that inspired you to do a creature or monsters or whatever?
I think I got to a family friend got me to go meet Don Post Sr.
Okay.
And so I met him when I was about 13 or 14, and was just absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
And while I was there, he made a life cast of my face, which was really cool. And so and he showed me, okay, here's a life cast. Then you take clay and you put it on here, and you can make whatever shape you want, and then you can make a mask that fits you. And
was this the mask that he made?
No,
for
this
you?
was the very. This was. I was a sort of a problem child, I guess I'd say. And
who are you choking? Who's that blonde?
This is my older brother
okay.
behind me. Yeah, who's stuck behind the seat.
Yeah.
So that's kind of probably where the problem started.
Masks. Everyone started with masks.
Masks.
And
I
John
always liked
Post
masks,
inspired more careers.
It's so
Yeah,
true.
oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I talk about that a lot with Jordu Shell and myself too. Like rubber masks. You know, Halloween rubber masks is was like the start for so many people.
Yeah.
Now, after you did that, what was like? You had there's some more.
If they just
early
cycle
work, right?
through, it might be
let's
easier
cycle
to
through
just.
the photos.
Yeah.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
I saw this. This was
was
the lion guy that you did.
Yeah,
that
this
you
was
had
in
done.
high school.
Yeah.
Or just after high school, I think.
Again, it's beautiful. It's like it has a great character. The paint job's amazing. And you were how old when you did this?
I was about 18, I guess.
That's excellent work.
17 or
Fantastic.
18.
You know how to photograph it. So many people can do a great makeup, but if you
And this
don't
was on a
photograph
friend
it
of
well-
mine. This was
That's
also in
really
high school.
excellent. Yeah. And again, Planet of the Apes, a
That
big
really,
inspiration
was a
for
massive
a lot
inspiration.
of people. Yeah.
I also got to go meet them too.
Yeah.
Meet some of the guys. And
Now
this
tell me
was-
about that for a second. How did you met people on the crew for Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, I got to meet them. It was just for the television series. I went down and met them. And I don't know, your father,
Did
I
you
think.
meet Dad on that?
I
Or
think
you just
I
working
did
on
because
those?
I met this guy. He came up to me, and I was just this little kid.
Yeah.
And but he, said hi, and
Yeah.
it was just. And then looking back, I'm thinking, I bet that was Stan Winston.
Yeah.
Because
Did
I
he
wasn't-
have a big old Jewish afro?
He had curly hair. Yeah,
Because in the
curly hair.
70s, he had
Yeah.
a giant
A lot
afro.
of people have perms. Like
He would
remember
have been
Brady
the only
Bunch?
yes.
Yeah.
He was the only white man with an afro on the set. So
Yeah.
if you can remember that,
Yeah.
that was my dad.
Then,
Well, I wasn't much of a. I hadn't really been, following the fans or the films that much. I just kind of liked doing what I was doing.
Right,
so I
right.
was sort of out of the loop as far as who was who. But
right. And then the lion guy and stuff. That's really only a couple years before you met Rick, right? Like,
Yeah.
And how did you send in some pictures of your work? Like, how did that come about?
I met him. I came. My mother worked at the Museum of Natural History, and through her working there, I met a whole group of people that were dinosaur enthusiasts. And one of them was this Sylvia Massey at the time, and then she became Sylvia Cherkis. But she was a good friend of Rick's, and she said, you should show him your stuff. And so that's what I did. I went down, and that was right when he was in the middle of kind of finishing up Night Skies.
Oh, okay.
And
that was right about to start on Werewolf, right?
Yeah, just before Werewolf.
So your first professional job was American Werewolf.
American
Man,
Werewolf.
what a start!
Oh, I know.
You
I mean,
peaked too early. You peaked too early. Where do you go from there?
Well,
I know.
he hasn't talked about Shrek and all the other stuff.
No, we should definitely get into that. Shall we do a?
Yeah, let's do a.
Let's go through the photos since we
Okay.
have them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can
And
just quickly make
give
a
him an
comment
overview.
here and there
Sure.
Let's do it.
about each one.
And by the way, all of you at home, this is an interactive webcast, so if you have any questions for Tom or Norman about anything you're about to see, type them in the comments, and if we have time, we will get to them. So take us through it.
Yeah. Now they kind of jumped into the middle there, so I don't know.
You jumped into the middle. Can we start at the beginning of the slides, guys?
Are they not? They don't seem to be.
Our crew is going to just order them correctly for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the meantime, shall we talk about what's on the table before us?
Yeah. These are some maquettes I did for Shrek 2. I did the character designs for the first Shrek, and then they brought me back for the second and third ones. I didn't do the fourth movie. I was Shrek'd out by that point.
You were Shrek'd out, yeah.
And you created all your designs in physical space.
In sculpture,
which were then scanned and cleaned up however they needed to be cleaned up.
Yeah, I mean, I did these. These were done as what I call gestural maquettes.
Yeah.
Because that was to try to figure out what the character was, and so they would be an expression with a pose.
Yeah.
But then once the director liked it, then we do a neutral
These are
version.
beautiful. I mean, they have such a strong. That's sort of the thing about. I always talk about Jordu and him and everyone that when we geek out about sculpture, how important form is.
Oh yeah.
Form is everything.
Details
because detail is cool, and if you can detail something and detail it wonderfully in rendering, but get the form down first. You should be able to look at something from across the room, and it makes a strong impression. You know what I mean? And something like this, it's just it's gorgeously rendered. But so now I think they did.
We've got our photos back.
They got the photos
back.
back.
Okay,
Okay.
photos, guys.
I guess we'll do. We'll do them as
they come
They
up.
might not necessarily be in order, but
I think they got all jumbled. Maybe.
Let's fly with it, man. Let's improv. This is jazz.
Yes, it is.
Freeform
Jazz webcast.
right?
This is live.
I know,
There's no
yeah.
rules.
Exactly.
There's no rules.
Exactly. You hit a wrong chord, just
Right.
move with
Yeah,
it,
you
right?
do it right.
Yeah, there you go. So we got this is Greystoke. So
This is Greystoke.
Brilliant.
tell us
Yeah.
about this beautiful stuff.
Yeah, so there was just a blast to make these suits for these guys.
Yeah.
And we had quite a bit of time leading up to it. So
Yeah.
that the actors would work, we had like 6 months, I think, where they could really work with getting used to the suits as well as work with baby chimpanzees. Like you see at the very top was a little actual
Now, on
baby
the bottom
chimpanzee.
right, I know it's this tiny little photo, but I've seen that photo before, and it's like a dissected
Yeah.
ape. And now you did the body on that. You did,
Yeah, I did the body.
That is absolutely gorgeous. It's too bad it's so small there. But
There's another
the
picture right after
yeah,
that.
you can
that's
go
a
to the
full
next
thing.
photo.
Yeah,
there we go.
Mm.
Look at that. That's just absolutely gorgeous. And there's Tom on the right, and of course Rick Baker in the center.
And this was a blast because it was just, they needed a dissection thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not normally into the gore that much, but my father was an orthopedic surgeon. So I always liked the anatomical stuff.
And the anatomy is, I remember, in fact, this looks like it's scanned from a Japanese SFX magazine, and I remember seeing this photo and talking to you about it way back when,
Yeah.
And it's just a gorgeous piece. The anatomy is just absolutly real. Oh, I love
Thriller.
this. I wanted to ask you about Thriller,
Thriller.
because he's the famous corpse that comes out of the crypt. The first guy, right?
I'm not sure. I
or
can't
the
remember.
second guy.
Yeah,
One of the
I
first
slide
two
the
guys.
lid open.
He slides the lid open.
That's
and
Tom
stuff.
Hester, guys.
I know.
All that other stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah.
He was that famous zombie from Thriller.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing on your resume.
Yeah, and now let's because I know we're short on time, but let's skip through some of these
Yeah.
and move along. Oh, there's some more stuff from Thriller.
Yeah, this is building the
American
suit
Werewolf.
for Thriller.
That's the Thriller hand,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the Thriller hand. That's the hands for Michael.
Yeah, I mean, look at the anatomy on that. That's what people who want to study sculpture now
This
should
was
look
applying.
at that stuff.
Rick is applying the face makeup, and I'm just doing his hands there. I'm applying little finger
Michael
cups.
loves
Yeah.
prosthetics.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, Starman.
Starman.
That
Which
thing's
was
absolutely
Rick
gorgeous.
and my dad's one
Yeah.
of two
That's right.
collaborations with Dick as
Yeah,
well.
Dick as well,
Smith
yeah.
did one of the
Starman.
stages, Stan
Yeah.
did the other stage,
Yep.
and then Rick did the other stage.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. Now tell us about this. This is My Science Project?
My Science Project,
Yeah.
which is a Disney film.
Yeah.
And so we just had to do this puppet. It was like 30 some odd cables coming out. Doug
Yeah.
Beswick did all the mechanics for it.
Again, look at the anatomy on there. It's just it's fantastic. You should be able to look at something from across the room and feel the power of the muscles and all that kind of stuff. That's really important, you know.
Absolutely.
This was a little film called Missing Link.
Oh, Link! I remember I worked on that with you.
Yeah.
It was the first show that I worked on with Tom at Rick's was Rat Boy. Little known
Love
film.
that makeup.
Yeah,
That's a
it was a
great
cool
makeup.
The movie was a total flop. They wanted it to be the next E.T., and it was a massive
So they
failure.
called it Rat Boy.
They called it Rat Boy, yeah, but it was Mal Paso.
That's not
Productions.
as lovable as E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Maybe the title was the problem.
But then we did Harry together, you
Harry,
know, Gremlins 2.
Gremlins 2.
You know, yeah, but I mean,
This was
what's
Cocoon.
going through.
Cocoon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful stuff.
This was
Gorillas
both
in the Mist.
Gorillas in the Mist and Harry and the Hendersons, both of those together.
It's another phenomenal piece. Go back to that picture that we
was that
just
John
saw.
Alexander in the suit in that shot?
See, the upper left is his bodysuit, and that's
for Harry. Yeah.
That's for Harry and the Hendersons. That's the undersuit that goes underneath the fur, and again, anatomy is spot on. And Steve Wang,
he helped me with
helped
it,
you
yeah.
smooth some of it out. or something
Steve
like
says
that.
he barely did anything.
That-
He
I know.
said Tom did it, and I came and I kind of smoothed it a little.
right. We were like-
He's like, how can I mess with perfection? I'll just pretend. I'll
Yeah,
smooth
that's
it.
right. That's right. He did say that, but that was to see a creature like Harry being created right in front of your eyes. I mean, it was my second show, and there's Rick sculpting Harry's head, and Tom's doing the muscle suit, and you know, there's Matt Rose and Steve Wang, and
You'd
and,
made
and,
it.
and, you know,
You were inside the pages
these
that you were
people,
reading.
Yeah, and these people that I admired and had heard about, you know, there I was working with them, you know, and man, Tom, and I really appreciate you doing this, because again, when you asked me to do this, I'm like, one of the first person really I thought of was Tom, because we work with so many really talented people, and you know, everyone does their little part, you know, and everyone there's a tremendous amount of talent in this field, and I feel really honored and that we all do this, and it's just a great business, and made these friendships that now I've known you for 30 years, and you know, it was really a great move to come out here, and lo and behold, we're all making monsters, you know, 30 years later.
And now the next generation of artists, instead of
Exactly.
having to pour through magazines, they can tune in on the web and meet you for real and be inspired to come out and push this craft into new directions. So I know there's a lot of images that we could continue. I would love to spend
Several
all day
hours,
looking at them.
I know.
But Tom, where can people see some of the work you've shared?
I have a
here?
website, which is just hesterstudios.com.
That link is actually in the description of the video. If you scroll down, find Tom's name, and you can click right through to your site. And you have some of this imagery there.
I have some of these things.
So
there,
even though you didn't get to see it all here today, take a look at that and be impressed and be
Really
inspired.
appreciate that.
And thank you, Norman. And Norman, how about you? Where are they going to find you, sir? Online. What's the best way to reach
online,
you?
not so much online, but I'll be at K&B sculpting.
So to reach Norman, you have to break into K&B.
Exactly. Yeah. Choke Howard.
Choke out Howard and Greg.
Exactly. Greg.
Knock out Corey.
Put a sleeper hold on Greg, and then you can talk to me.
Or Carrie, rather.
Or Carrie Jones.
Carrie will
exactly.
knock you out, so don't try it.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot reach him online, but you can reach Tom online. So check him out, and thank you both for being fantastic guests, and thanks for the awesome idea for a segment, Norman.
You know.
Thanks again, Tom.
Thank you.
The show goes on, guys. We have Alan, Apone, and Mel Effects coming up, and they're going to be showing off some demos that are going off in that booth, talking to you about some of their products. So stick around. We're going to take a short break, and we will see you back at Makeup Effects Live at IMATS 2015.
Keep
Don't
making
go anywhere.
monsters, man.
Monsters forever.
All right.